All right, it's about that time. So you can go ahead and get comfortable on your mat. If there's something that you'd like to drink or some music that you want to put on in your background, go ahead and include that. I'm going to keep music off so that it's not distracting for you. We did have one request this morning for some focus on lower back, right above the hips. So I'm going to incorporate a couple of stretches and some strengthening for those areas as well. So let's go ahead and get comfortable. Today, we're going to start out in a seated position. So you might like to sit right on the floor, or you might like to have a folded blanket or a small cushion to put underneath you to elevate the hips a little bit. So especially if the hips are tight and you've got stuff going on with the low back, it may be helpful to elevate those hips just a little bit to help keep the spine straighter and prevent you from dumping into the low back. So, comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. For me, it means my legs are crossed. You might like the legs straight or one leg crossed, one leg straight. Some people like to bend the knees. So, do what feels right for you. And you can rest the hands on the knees. Any little wiggles or movements that you want to get out of your body right now, feel free to do so. And we'll start with just a little bit of grounding. So feel free to close the eyes, or if you would rather keep them open, maybe just casting them downward, looking in front of the legs, starting to pay attention to your breath, just noticing if it's shallow or deep, if it's fast or slow, and seeing if you might deepen and slow down the breath just a little bit, bringing more oxygen in with every inhalation and releasing more breath and also more tension with every exhalation. You can notice where your shoulders are in space. If they're shrugged up by the ears, you might press them down a little bit so you have more space on the sides of the neck. And the top of the head can lengthen upward in the opposite direction. So you feel the spine lengthening toward the ceiling or toward the sky if you're outside. And now we can bring our awareness all the way down to the parts of our body that are in contact with the ground. So your hips, your bottom, maybe the outside of the legs, the ankles. And feeling that connection between you and the ground underneath you. Envisioning the stability, solidity, and security of the earth underneath. And maybe visualizing that you are sending down a root or multiple roots from these parts of you that are touching the ground. I like to imagine that the base of my spine just continues downward right into the earth. One big solid taproot, curling its way down through the sand, through the soil, through the water, through the rock, all the way down to the fiery center of the earth. And when it reaches that place, I can think of it like a tube or a pipe, and I can gather up all the parts of myself, behaviors, thoughts, things that don't serve me anymore, things that I'm ready to let go of, resentment, fear, guilt, shame, and just send it down, flush it away, send it down through that tube or that pipe all the way down to the fire in the center of the earth, and let it burn away and purify. You can breathe that image in and then let it out. Now that root is still all the way down in the fire. And now that you've emptied out a little bit, maybe made some room for something new, you might imagine that you are drawing energy up through that root or tube or pipe and start to bring some of that fire up into you, into the hips, up the spine, all the way up to the top of the head. And you can imagine the spine glowing, vibrating with that fiery energy. Maybe it's radiating outward, filling the limbs, the arms, the legs, filling your whole head, breathing in, breathing out. And I'll take this moment to remind you that the earth and her energy of solidity and fire are always right there underneath you. So whenever you feel like you need a little extra boost of that energy or that sense of security, just imagine yourself rooting down and drawing it up. Always there for you. So we'll take one more big, deep, slow breath in and out. And then we can start to bring a little movement to the body. So you're welcome to keep the eyes closed or you can open them. We can start to circle the spine, the rib cage, the torso around in one direction. And we're not like a really stiff spine and neck here. We're kind of fluid and moving and leaning in all directions. So I received a really great visual from another instructor a long time ago that I find very helpful. Imagine you are sitting in a jar of peanut butter, so a really big jar, and the walls are all around you. And as you're circling, you're kind of using your rib cage to scrape the peanut butter off the sides of the jar. So you're really leaning in all directions and exploring the space around you with the rib cage. So we've been circling this way for a little while. When you reach the front of your next circle, you can start to switch directions. And you might explore different speeds, different sizes of circles. So maybe you want to make a really big circle, and maybe you want to make some little teeny circles, and just explore what those changes feel like within your body. You may notice some different sensations when you circle one way versus the other way. You may notice some little popping and cracking in your spine. I've already had a few myself. And this is also great for your digestion. So we're kind of massaging internal organs as we're circling around. We'll give it one more big, deep, slow breath in and out. And then as we come back to center, I'm going to turn sideways to demonstrate. We'll come into the seated version of cat and cow. So it's flexion and extension of the spine. As we inhale, we can lean forward, looking up, stretching the shoulders back behind us. And exhaling, we can lean back and tip the chin to the chest. Again, leaning forward, looking up, deep breath in. And exhaling, leaning back, chin to chest, looking downward. So really pay attention to the shoulder blade area. As we lean forward and look up, we can squeeze those shoulder blades together. And exhaling, leaning back, we can broaden them out. One more time. Inhaling, gazing up, leaning forward. And exhaling, leaning back, gazing downward. Good. As we come back to center, you can take a look down at your legs and just notice which leg you've had on top or in front. I think I had the right one in front. And then just save that information for later. We're not going to use it right now. You can extend the legs forward, little bouncy movement to the knees. And take a gentle forward fold. So just bringing a little bit more blood flow into the legs and the feet. If you'd like, you can kind of flex and point the feet, decide if you like one position more than the other. And then rising back up, I'm going to remove my blanket and turn sideways again to demonstrate. We can bring the hands behind us, leaning back slightly. Now, to strengthen the wrists, you might like to keep the fingers pointed forward, but if that doesn't feel good on your wrist, you can always turn the fingers outward or backward. And hands are about shoulder distance apart. Feet are going to open up hip distance apart, and then we'll slide the feet in until they come flat to the mat. On an inhale, we'll push into hands and feet and lift up into a reverse tabletop pose. You can let the head drop down. We'll stay here for a couple breaths, noticing if the weight distribution is different from one foot to the other, seeing if you can straighten that out or even it out. Seeing if the thighs are opening up, squeezing them slightly in to stay parallel, And then one more breath in. We can lift maybe another millimeter and exhale as we drop back down. Legs extend, little bouncy movement to your knees. And then recalling that information about which leg was in front or on top before, let's go ahead and switch. All right, inhaling, arms out and up, gazing up. And exhaling, pressing down, tipping chin to the chest. So we're keeping a lot of length here through the arms, sparking through the fingers as we inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, press down, bring the chin to the chest. And one more time, inhaling, coming up, gazing up. Exhaling, let's turn to the right. So bring the left hand to the knee and the right hand behind. Now that hand behind you is actually very close to your body. We're not leaning back. And as you inhale, you might sit up a little bit taller, lengthening through the spine, dropping the shoulders. And as you exhale, you might push on the knee and turn the head just a little bit further. Notice if there's any tension in the face or the jaw, you can let that relax. And then sweeping arms up, back through center, inhaling, lengthening up, exhaling, turning to the left. Right hand to the knee, left hand on the ground behind you, very close to your body. Again, shoulders drop as the top of the head lengthens up. We'll take a deep breath in, sitting up a little taller, and exhaling, pressing on the knee, twisting deeper. One more deep breath in and out. And then sweeping arms up, big deep breath in. Exhaling, arms to your sides. We can tiptoe this right arm out as we inhale, left arm up. And as we come into the right side bend, you want to make sure the shoulder does not kind of cram up into the ear. So you might need to bend that right elbow down toward the ground. And if you have a block or any other object that you want to put underneath the forearm, you can do that as well. So it's totally optional. You're welcome to just keep the hand on the ground and the elbow slightly dropped. Opening up through the side body, both hips are still firmly planted on the ground. Deep breath in and out. Now as we inhale, we'll come up and over, left hand down, tiptoeing away, reaching up and over, right arm. Again, we'll let that left elbow drop. If you've got a block, you can put it right underneath your forearm or just let the elbow kind of hang in space. Breathing deeply in and out. Good. Coming back to center, deep breath in, arms up. Exhaling, pressing the arms down. I'm gonna move my blocks out of the way. And then let's flip over onto hands and knees. If you feel like you need a little padding under the knees and you still have that cushion or rolled up towel or blanket, you can always put that underneath the knees if you choose. And we'll align the knees directly under the hips and the wrists directly under the shoulders. Now I know I'm wearing kind of a loose shirt today. It's my Inner Glow wellness shirt, so I love it. But the challenge with this is that you can't see my abdominals. So you want to make sure that we're not soft and loose here in the abdominals. We're actually drawing the navel up into the spine so that we can flatten out through the low back and lengthen the tailbone. So a little bit of that abdominal intensity, the abdominal lock or the Udayana Bandha, those ab muscles pulling up and in. And then we can start to move in that cat and cow sequence like we did seated, inhaling, arching, gazing up. Exhaling, spine to the ceiling, gazing in. And if you want to add a little lean back or a little lean forward, breathing in, dropping the belly, and breathing out, rounding the back. We'll do one more like this. Deep breath in, squeezing shoulder blades together, looking up. And exhaling, rounding the spine. And then the knees can move just a little bit closer together. They're not actually touching. There's still a small space in between. And when you're ready, you can start to extend your right leg back, toes tucked under on the ground, and we can rock forward and back, forward and back. So you're flexing and then coming to the pointed toes and really feeling some sensations in the lower part of the leg. Meanwhile, notice the shoulders. If they're shrugging toward the ears, we'll slide them back. Always breathing deeply in and out. And then when we're ready, we can come back to stillness, keeping the right hand here, inhaling left arm up. We'll exhale and sweep this left hand behind the right, reaching under and across, palm facing up. Inhaling, untwisting, coming up, actually twisting, opening up the arm, and now exhaling, coming under and across. 2 more times. We'll inhale, gazing up. So it's almost like you're keeping the gaze on your thumb and exhaling, reaching under and across. 1 more time, deep breath in, unwrapping, reaching up, exhaling under and across. All right, we'll come back to center, drop those limbs, maybe shake out the right wrist a little bit. And as we come back to our tabletop position, knees slightly inward, little narrower than the hips, left leg out behind, toes tucked. Again, rocking forward and back, feeling that stretch in the calf muscle and the Achilles. Meanwhile, our gaze is down between the hands. Top of the head is lengthening forward. Deep, slow breaths, as always. And then coming back to center, the left hand stays planted as we inhale, bringing the right arm up. And exhale, reaching under and across. So right hand comes behind the left, palm facing up. Good. Inhale, unwrapping. So the gaze stays pretty much glued to the thumb, looking up, inhaling, exhaling, turning the head and reaching under and across, palm up. 2 more times. We'll inhale, bring it up. Exhale, untwist, reaching under and across, pulling that abdominal lock in. And 1 more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach it across. Good. We'll take the hand down, knee down, little shake to the left wrist. And I'm going to go ahead and move my blanket. We can open up the knees a little bit wider now, toes touching behind you. And as we sit back on the heels, feel free to extend the arms forward, bringing the forehead down, coming into child's pose. Now, once you're here in child's, if there's any movement you want to add, you want to sway the hips or roll the forehead, inch the fingers further forward, feel free. If you'd like an extra stretch for the shoulders, here's another variation. You can start to bend at the elbows, bringing palms together and then inviting the thumbs to the back of the neck. If this feels okay for you, you might like to inch the elbows a little further forward for a deeper stretch. So again, this is totally optional. If you like the arms extended in front, that's fine. Breathing in, breathing out. And if you try a variation and at any point something becomes uncomfortable, just go ahead and change it. This is part of the self-compassion that we learn here on the mat, learning where our limits are, when is the right time to push, when is the right time to back off. Arms can extend back forward again. Shoulder distance space between the hands. And with your arms fully extended, elbows nice and straight, you can get ready to rise up into a downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips, and pressing back. And you might feel a big stretch in the calves, the Achilles as the heels press down. Head is heavy and relaxed. You might like to shake it a little bit, shaking no, nodding yes. And if you want, you could bring some movement into the legs. I love to bend and straighten alternate knees here, walking my dog in place. And just notice where the biceps are. So as we push firmly into the hands, we're trying to bring the head as close to between the upper arms as we can, bringing the chest a little closer to the thighs. And if at any point your down dog feels like too much, you can always drop to the knees, take a little break, and resume when you feel ready. Good. So now we're going to shift the weight forward into a plank position. Shoulders over wrists and the hips in line with the body. And remember, plank can be on the toes or you could drop to the knees as long as you straighten out through the hips. We'll take a deep breath in here in high plank. And exhale, option to drop the knees as we slowly lower down with the elbows hugging inward toward the ribs. And once your belly hits the ground, we can lift the chest for cobra, shoulders back, elbows in, big deep breath in. And exhale, we'll roll right over the knees back into that child's pose position. But we're not going to stay here too long. Child's pose can help us set up for downward dog by extending those arms fully with the hips all the way back. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and rise back up, tucking the toes, lifting the hips and pressing back. This time we can move the feet together at the back of the mat, lifting the right leg up toward the ceiling with a big deep breath in for three-legged dog. And then coming forward to that plank position, but bringing the right knee into the chest. Breathing in, pressing back, three-legged dog. And if you prefer dropping that left knee to the ground, go ahead. Exhaling, coming forward, bringing the right knee to the chest. Two more times, pressing back, deep breath in. So again, left knee can be lifted or on the ground. Exhaling, coming forward, knee to chest. And one more time, big deep breath in. Exhale, knee to chest. Good, so this time, three-legged dog, deep breath in. We're gonna guide this right foot between the hands. It may or may not get there. So you can use the right hand to the right ankle, lift up the foot, place it where you want it, and drop that knee down. Good. So hands are on either side of the foot. My hips are pretty tight today, so I'm up on my fingertips. If you have blocks, you want to put them under the hands, that's okay too. And you might like to kind of play with the pressure in the right foot and lift the hips, press back, come forward. Just notice what you feel here in the front of that left hip. Good. So we're going to take one more deep breath in and out. Let those hips drop down. We're looking for a good stretch that's not painful. So if it's painful, a little more pressure in that right foot. You can always come to fists if your wrists are tired. We'll give it one more deep breath in and out. And then making sure that your right ankle is aligned under the right knee. We'll push into the right foot. Come on up to balance with arms out to the sides to start. That feels pretty solid and secure. You can bring the arms up for a modified crescent lunge. Option to stay right here, letting the hips drop down, reaching the arms up. You might even like to arch the spine a little bit, or we can add a twist. Deep breath in, palms together down to the heart as you breathe out, turning to the right, bringing that elbow to the outside of the knee. And again, if it's too much for the left hip, just push a little bit into the right foot, lift the hips up. The elbows are making a straight line, firm pressure between the palms. One more deep breath in. Exhaling, we can drop the hands to the left side of this right leg and then move the right foot over, heel, toes, heel, toes. So now the right foot is at the right edge of the mat. Wrists can align under shoulders. We'll let the head and the neck drop. So we just went from crescent lunge to lizard lunge. Again, that focus on the left hip flexor. And you might allow the right knee to fall outward a little bit, or you can use the right arm and gently press to encourage it further out. Head and neck can drop here. If you like, option to tuck the back toes and lift that knee off the ground if that feels good for you. I actually find I get a deeper stretch with the knee on the ground. One more deep breath in and out. And if you're pushing on that right knee, let's bring the wrists under the shoulders again. We'll tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, and slide right foot back, plank position. Deep breath in. Exhaling, again, option to drop the knees. Slow motion, lowering down. The elbows are in against the ribs. This is not a traditional push-up. It's a yoga push-up, all triceps. Inhale, lifting. Again, the elbows are not flared out. They're pulled in. Now it's downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips, and pressing back. And if you like that pedaling motion again, walking your dog in place, please feel free. Deep breath in and out. We can shake out the head a little bit, make sure those vertebrae in the neck are nice and loose. And then when you're ready, feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, we can bring that left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhaling, shifting forward to plank with left knee in the chest, abdominal lock engaged, belly button pulled toward the spine. Inhale, pressing back, three-legged dog. Exhale, coming forward, shoulders over wrists, left knee to the chest. And if you want to drop that right knee at any point, feel free. We'll inhale, pushing left leg back. Exhale, forward, left knee to the chest.
One more time. Inhale, pressing back, three-legged dog. Exhale, forward, knee to chest. Here's where it's going to change. We'll take that three-legged dog, lifting the leg, deep breath in, and then guiding the left foot between the hands. We'll get as close as we can. You can grab that ankle, place the ankle under the knee in the center of the mat, and we'll drop the back knee. So again, my hips are really tight today. I went swimming yesterday and just, whew, it was a good workout. So I'm up on my fingertips now. If you have blocks, feel free. You can come to fists. And we could just bring a little bit of mobility into that hip, pushing into the left foot, lifting the hips up and back, bringing them forward. And really paying attention to the sensations that you feel in the front of that right hip. And as you let the hips drop down, coming to a place where you're feeling a good stretch without pain. All right, making sure left ankle is directly under the left knee. We'll get ready to balance, pushing into the left foot, gazing at a point on the mat somewhere in front of you. We can extend the arms parallel to the ground. So I find this helps me with balance. You can stay here, or you might like to bring the arms up, crescent lunge. If it's too much for the right hip flexor, push into that left knee, lift the hips a little bit more. Maybe you want to arch the spine, gaze up to the ceiling and press back. Maybe we want to come into a twist by bringing palms together down to the heart and then turning to the left. Bringing the right elbow to the left knee, keeping that straight line between the elbows so we're not flopping down here. And you can turn the head and look up toward that left elbow. So there is an element of balance here. Let's keep the eyes glued to one point to help with balance and draw in the abdominal lock. We'll also draw in the root lock. So pelvic floor muscle, P-stopping muscle pulling up, in, one more breath. And then untwisting, we can guide the hands to the right side of the foot and start to move this left foot outward, heel toes to the edge of the mat, and aligning wrists under shoulders. You can let the hips drop down here. Again, if it's too much, you can always lift up a little bit. And then maybe we can let the left knee fall outward a little, and we might like to assist with the left arm. Just give some pressure here, letting the head and neck drop. Option to tuck the back toes and lift that knee. As I said before, I prefer the knee on the ground, but you can do what feels right for you. One more deep breath in and out. Hands back on the ground. Now we can tuck the back toes, start to move this left foot, heel toes all the way back to our plank position. Deep breath in, high plank. Now we're going to pike the hips up and back, downward facing dog, letting the heels drop. We'll do that a couple more times. Coming forward, plank, shoulders over wrists. Now we're on the toes. Exhaling, pressing back, pressing the heels down. And it's okay to keep knees bent here. One more time, plank position, deep breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now let's come to our plank, deep breath in, and drop down to the belly. So we're going to do a little bit of strengthening for the low back. We can extend the arms in front. So it's kind of like we're flying. Legs extended in back, hip distance between the feet. We're going to lift and lower opposing limbs. So we'll start with right arm, left leg. Inhale, lifting those limbs up. And exhale, dropping down. Other side, left arm, right leg. Inhale, lifting, seeing if you can get the thigh up off the ground, and exhale, lowering down. Let's keep those locks engaged. Abdominal lock, root lock. Right arm, left leg, inhale, lift. Exhale, take it down. Left arm, right leg, inhale, lift. Exhale, dropping down. Now let's keep the feet rooted and lift both arms. Inhale. Exhale, drop down. Palms flat, keep the hands rooted. Inhale, both legs lift. See if we can get the thighs up. Exhale, lower. And now we can try all four limbs. Inhale, reaching up, fingers forward, toes back. Exhale, lower. One more time like this. Inhale. And exhale, drop. All right, we can fold in at the elbows. So we're stacking the hands one over the other. And then feel free to rest your forehead on your stacked hands. Take a couple of breaths here, face down. You can also bend at the knees and gently sway the feet from side to side. You might feel a little bit of release in the low back here. All right, sliding the hands back. We'll let the feet drop down, sliding the hands back next to the ribs. Slow motion movement. So we just went from a back bend. Now we're going to lift the hips up and back. Child's pose. So it's the opposite motion here in the low back. Slow, controlled movement. I like to open my knees, let the rib cage drop between, and then sway the hips in slow motion, just kind of rocking side to side. Then looking up at your hands, arms fully extended. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, downward facing dog. This time we'll inhale, look forward toward the hands. We'll start moving the feet forward as we exhale. Feet hip distance. Half lift, look forward, inhale. Exhaling, we can fold down. Feel free to bend the knees here, coming into a forward fold. Arms can hang, or you can grab opposite elbows. Head is heavy. Feel free to sway side to side if that feels good for you. You might just sway the upper body. You might bend and straighten alternate knees. Notice any tension in the face or the jaw. You can let it relax. And then dropping arms down, we can begin a slow rolling movement upward, stacking one vertebra on top of the last. And when we are fully upright, bringing arms out and up, deep breath in, reaching up, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, arms down, tipping chin to chest. Again, inhaling, sweeping out and up. And exhaling, pressing down. All right, my favorite Tai Chi move, bending the knees softly. We can swirl it out side to side. Let the arms just tap against your body. Loose and limp. Deep breath in and out. All right, coming back to center. So we're facing forward, short end of the mat. We're going to bring the feet hip distance apart. And then inhale, arms in front and pulling the shoulders back. Deep breath in here. We're going to sit back in a squat. So you're really reaching the hips back so the knees are still over the ankles. We don't want to just bend straight down so the knees bend in front. We're reaching the hips back and gazing at a point on the ground somewhere in front of your mat. On an inhale, we'll lift up onto the toes. And exhaling, we can drop the heels back down again. Thighs stay parallel. Inhale, lifting. Let's push into the big toe more than the others. Exhale, lowering down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Maybe you want to sink the hips a little deeper. Exhale, lower. And 1 more time. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, take it down. Good. We'll lift up, arch back, straight legs, deep breath in. And then arms out to the sides. Exhale, folding forward. Half lift as we lengthen the back, inhaling. And then exhaling, plank position. Deep breath in here, high plank. Knees can drop, exhale, lowering down. This time, how about we move the hands back a couple inches and take a bigger lift into upward facing dog. Shoulders back and down. Tops of the feet pushing on the mat. Maybe we lift those thighs up, gazing up, another deep breath in. Then lifting the hips up and back, rolling over the toes, downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. We'll inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, we'll step this foot forward between the hands. Again, if it doesn't get there, just help it along with your right hand. And we're going to move the foot over to the right, spinning the left heel down. So if you look at your feet, they're not in line on a tightrope. It's almost like you're on railroad ties. So the right foot is to the right, the left foot is to the left. And then we'll rise up for warrior 1. Pulling that right hip back so the hips stay in the same plane. Deep breath in here. Exhaling, we're going to reach the arms behind us and interlace behind the back.
Arching back. Inhale, we'll gaze up. Exhaling, folding forward.
We can let the right shoulder barely rest on that right knee. Lifting the hands away from the low back, letting the head and the neck drop. Deep, slow breaths. So that back foot, a lot of weight is in the outer edge of the foot. Let's see if we can lift the arch a little bit more. One more breath. And then slowly rising up, keeping that bend in the knee. Inhaling with the arms up. We'll exhale as we start to turn the body to the left, opening into warrior two pose. That front foot now needs to move back to center. So we can be walking a tightrope with the feet. Knee bends deeply, locks engaged, fingers reaching in opposite directions. Reaching to the right, deep breath in, palm faces up. We'll exhale and arch back, peaceful warrior. Now that left hand can rest on your thigh, or you can wrap the arm behind the back if you choose. If you choose that wrap, then that left arm is reaching forward and the right arm is reaching back. One more deep breath in and out. And then rising up, deep breath in. Let's windmill the arms and frame the right foot with the hands. Sliding back, plank position, deep breath in, high plank. Exhale, option to drop the knees, slowly lower down. We can slide the hands back a little bit. Inhale, upward facing dog. Rolling over the toes, lifting the hips. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, left leg lifts. We're stepping the foot forward, so gaze between the hands first. Visualize where you want the foot. Get it as close as you can get it, and then use the hand to move it forward. Left foot moves to the left. Right heel spins down. We're walking on railroad ties here as we inhale and lift. Warrior one. So hips are facing forward. That left hip is pulling back. Make sure the ankle is under the knee. Deep breath in here. Exhale, clasping hands behind the back. Pulling back, arching the spine. Deep breath in. Exhaling, folding forward. That left shoulder barely resting on the left knee. Letting the hands come up away from the low back, head drops. So I'm looking toward that back foot, noticing if my arch is collapsing, if I need to adjust and put more weight into the outer part of the foot. Let's make sure we're breathing. Then slowly rising up, releasing the hands. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, opening the body to the right, warrior two, and shifting that front foot inward so the feet are in line with each other. Drawing in on your locks so the tailbone can lengthen downward. Deep breath in and out here. Now reaching forward to the left, inhale. Left palm up, exhale, let's arch it back. Right hand finds the leg or wraps behind the back. So again, if you choose this wrap, the right hand is reaching forward as the left hand is reaching back. One more deep breath in and out. Good. Sweeping arms up. We're going to straighten the legs and make the feet parallel. So I'm facing the wrong way, so I'm going to turn around. And we're in a wide-legged stance now. Feet parallel, arms extended. Deep breath in, hands to hips, exhale. Weight is in the outer edges of the feet. Arches are lifted. Let's inhale, arch back, gazing up. Flat back, forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees. Exhaling and coming down to reach for the ground. Head and neck relaxed here. Feel free to shake the head no. Nod the head yes. Knees can stay bent throughout if that feels good. Option two, turn the fingertips to point back behind you and start to walk the hands through the legs. So you might want to bend the knees here to be able to accommodate this. Long, slow breathing. Now walking the hands forward again. We'll come up on fingertips and look forward with a flat back. Deep breath in. Hands walk over to the right, breathing out. Left hand stays here. Right arm comes up, and you can bend one or both knees. Right arm can stay extended, or you can fold it behind the back. Deep breath in. So we've got our wide-legged forward fold twist. You can move the head and the neck if you like, or turn to gaze up to strengthen the neck. Excuse me. And then inhale, right arm up. Exhale, as we come back down, we'll walk the hands across in front of the left foot. Right hand stays here. Left arm comes up. Deep breath in. Option to fold the arm behind the back if you choose. One or both knees can be bent. You can move the head and the neck in whatever way feels good. Or looking up will work against gravity's pull, helping to strengthen the muscles of the neck. One more deep breath in and out. And then bringing that left arm up, deep breath in. Let's come on back to center. We can turn the feet out 45. Bring a little bend to the knees and grab opposite elbows here. Again, head is relaxed. We're looking behind us and feel free to sway. One more deep breath in and out. Letting the arms drop down, we can slowly roll upward. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, bringing the arms down, tipping chin to the chest. Coming back to center, we could start to move the feet inward, heels, toes. And then facing the front of your mat, we're gonna step the right foot back, maybe 2 feet or so, and we're walking railroad ties again. So we wanna move that left foot out to the left a little bit and pull the left hip back. So you can even take your left hand on the hip and literally pull back with the left hand and then release. So it's just the hip that's pulling back on its own. Deep breath in, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold over that left leg as the left hip continues to pull back. So we've got some options here. We can stay here in the forward fold, looking down at the left foot for balance, left hip pulling back, or we can turn this into a twist, leaving the right hand here and starting to bring the left arm up. You can turn to gaze up to challenge the balance, or you can stay looking down. Keep that left hip pulling back. One more deep breath in. And exhale, we'll come back down. Arms sweep up with a strong flat back. Deep breath in. And releasing the arms, we'll exhale, stepping right foot forward, maybe shaking out the legs a little bit. Feet hip distance. We're going to step that left leg back now, about 2 feet. Moving that right foot outward. You can hook right hand on the hip, pull it back, and then release with the hands. So we're just pulling back with the muscular effort of the hip. Inhale, arms up, and folding over right leg. That hip continues pulling back. Gazing down at the foot, option to stay here in the forward fold, or left hand stays on the leg and we extend that right arm up, maybe turning to look up or keeping the head focused down, your choice. Right hip continues to pull back. We'll take one more deep breath in. Exhale back to center. Arms extend, strong flat back. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, we'll release the arms. Go ahead and step forward, shaking out the legs, maybe shaking out the upper body as well. And with feet hip distance, we can give the shoulders a little roll back to open up the chest. So shoulders forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. Feel free to take fingers to the shoulders and start circling the elbows. Biggest range of motion. I did this in the pool yesterday. My shoulders are tight. So you can swim the backstroke one arm at a time, or you can move them together. Your choice. And then dropping the arms down. Again, my favorite Tai Chi move, knees slightly bent, arms so floppy as we swirl from side to side, letting your hands tap against your body. Deep breath in and exhale. All right, so we're gonna come to a seated position with a little bit of challenge. I'm gonna turn sideways. And if you try this and you decide it doesn't work for you, then just go ahead and sit down. So we can start by crossing at the ankles and bringing the weight to the outer edges of the feet. Now, if your center of gravity is a little bit lower, and most women tend to have that center of gravity lower, we're going to lean forward. So everybody can extend the arms out, but if you're kind of heavier on the bottom, you want to lean forward a little bit. If you're more built in the upper body, don't lean forward quite so much. So now we can start to bend the knees, leaning forward as much as we need to balance out our weight distribution, and see if we can make a very gentle, controlled landing. And if you tried that and your landing was not as gentle as you hoped, that's okay. Like everything else, it takes practice. This is a yoga practice. This is not a yoga perfect. So just keep trying. Little flutter to the knees. And then let's make sure we've got room on the mat behind us. And we can bring the soles of the feet together, hands to the ankles, and kind of butterfly the knees up and down a little bit. So if you had a cushion underneath you before, let's hold off for now. We're going to come into a balancing pose. So lifting up through the spine, top of the head is reaching up and back, and the chin is tucked down. We'll draw in our locks to help with balance and start to lean back, lifting the feet up to balance. So if you're new to this movement, you might be doing some of this as your back muscles and front muscles find balance. And once you find that sweet spot of balance, you can hang out here, shoulders back, chest lifted, chin tucked, or you can add on. As long as you can keep the spine nice and straight, we could open up the feet. And if you want to add some playful movement, you can roll back, lifting the hips to get enough momentum to roll forward and find that same balanced position. And you might need to do this a couple times to find that spot. So again, as you roll back, see if you can get the hips up off the ground to get enough power to launch yourself forward. If it's too much power, then your feet will hit the ground. So you got to find just the right amount. I know I make it look super easy. I've been doing it for a really long time. So again, it's all about practice. If you're feeling like a turtle stuck on your back, not getting enough of that power, lift the hips up. See if that'll help get you forward. And if nothing works, then just roll over to your side. Use your hands, push yourself up. All right, feet to the ground, knees open. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, you can use them to push down and out. Otherwise, if your knees and hips are feeling a little more flexible, you can let them fall outward and start to walk the hands forward. Either way, we're taking a forward fold over those feet. So choose whether hands to ankles, elbows to knees, or hands in front, and let's let the head and the neck relax. One more deep breath in and out. Walking the hands back in, we can extend the legs, little flutter to the knees, again, making sure we got lots of room behind us. And then strengthening abdominals on the way down. You can bend the knees. Heels are going to stay planted. So my toes are up in the air, but the heels are grounded. Arms extended, deep breath in. Exhaling, we can round the back and begin a very slow descent to the ground. And if you want to add on here, you can inhale, lift an inch, and exhale, drop 2 inches. And really take your time with this movement. Locks are drawn in tight to protect the low back. And if you don't like that up and down movement, then just make it a descent. Try not to rush around the shoulder blades. When you're all the way down, you can lift the arms up above the head. And now we can unground those heels, slide the legs straight, and take a full body stretch here. Deep breath in. Exhaling, arms to your sides. And you can invite the knees up into the chest, one and then the other. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel free to hug the knees, rocking side to side, noticing sensations in the low back. I always feel like this is a really nice massage against the floor for me. And then we're going to come right into our spinal twist, reclined spinal twist. Keeping right knee up, let's extend the left leg all the way down. And with the hands around this right knee, we can bring a little movement to the knee. So we might draw circles with it, one way and the other way. We might just move it laterally, side to side. We might pull that right knee up toward the right shoulder, really stretching through the hips. And then we can place the right foot down on the ground right next to your left leg and turn the toes to tuck underneath your left knee. All right, there's a lot of right and left now, and it's the end of class, so we're feeling super relaxed. So listen closely. Left arm comes up and across to touch the bent right knee. Right arm opens out to the side 90 degrees or maybe even a little higher to really stretch that shoulder. We'll take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale with the toes tucked behind the knee, we can start to roll to the left and pull that bent knee across the body. When you've reached your limit and you don't want to pull across and twist any further, you can turn your head the other way to look toward your extended arm. Notice the sensations that you feel throughout your body. Check in with the muscles of the face, especially the jaw. You might like to open the mouth a little bit here or close the eyes. Notice how it feels to breathe into a twisted torso, maybe making a little bit more effort to fill the lungs completely. And then when you're ready, we can start to unwrap, bringing the right knee to the chest because it's already halfway there, and then inviting the left knee to join it, hugging in, rocking gently side to side. So we did have a request for lower back. This is a fantastic position for the low back along with the twist. We've done lots of twists today. We did a seated twist in the beginning. We did a kind of lunge twist. We did a lot of twists. So if you have any question about twists, you can always reach out to me. Email me at jen@lightyourinnerglow.com. That's LIGHT, yourinnerglow.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Now let's go ahead and let that right leg come on down. Hands are still around the left knee, and we can bring some movement into this hip. Circling one way, circling the other way, maybe side to side movement. And then my favorite, since we already did some of those lunges earlier to stretch out the hips, we can pull the left knee toward the left shoulder, keeping the right leg down. And then when you're ready, left foot flat to the mat next to the right knee, and then turning the toes to tuck under. Right arm comes up and across the body to touch the left leg. Left arm opens out to the side, palm up. Deep breath in to prepare, and exhale, pulling that knee across, rolling to the right. Head can turn to the left. Ask yourself where you can soften here. Every exhalation is an opportunity to release more tension in the body. See if you can slow the breathing a little bit more. When you feel ready, we can roll ourselves back to center, left knee up into the chest, followed by the right, squeezing in, rocking it out gently from side to side. Deep breath in and exhale. So getting into inner thighs, inner hips, all of it is connected to the low back. So the hip flexor muscle, the psoas, comes up and around from the front of the hip, up and around toward the low back. So stretching this out will help low back as well. Grabbing ankles, we can let the knees fall open. So the arms are on the insides of the legs. You can let the knees fall outward. And you can use the arms to give some gentle outward and downward pressure. Feeling a stretch in the inner thighs, the muscles of the groin, inner hips, and seeing where you can soften and release. So lower body is pretty soft. It's just the arms that are making that effort to press outward. Deep breaths in and out. If you'd like to add on, you can lift the feet up toward the ceiling and let the hands continue to bring their downward and outward pressure here. And if your feet are up and you want to rock a little bit side to side, go right ahead. Deep breath in
and exhale. When you're ready, feet together again, hands to knees. This time, we can draw circles with the knees moving in the same direction. Notice how it feels in the low back. Breathing in and out, and then reversing the direction of your circles. Deep breaths in and out. Squeezing knees in one more time. We are ready for our final resting pose. So you can extend the legs down. You can open the feet up into a small V with the legs, an upside down V. I like to align my feet with the corners of my mat, let the toes roll outward. And then we can start to slide the arms down toward the feet. So we have a lot of space above the shoulders. Option to move the arms outward a little bit, palms up, or to fold the hands in on the body. So one hand is over the belly button and one hand is over the heart. So maybe left hand to the heart, right hand to the belly. We can move the head and the neck gently from side to side and take one more big deep breath in. And as we exhale that breath, letting the head come to center, getting any last little wiggles or movement out of the body, coming into stillness and transitioning the breathing to gentler, easier breaths. Often when we have less movement in the body, we start to notice more movement in the mind, more thoughts. So if this is happening to you, you can tell yourself that anything that you're thinking about can wait. There's always later. But for right now, our focus is on what we are feeling and sensing in this present moment. The sounds that you're hearing in your ears, the sensations of pressure underneath your body, making contact with the floor, maybe a little bit of light behind your closed eyelids, the sensation of your own breath moving in and out of your body gently and rhythmically. So all of these threads of sensory input can keep us anchored in this present moment. Now you are welcome to stay here as long as you like. But if you're ready to bring some movement into the body, we can begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Move the head and the neck gently from side to side. You can start to deepen the breath, maybe extending the arms up above the head as you stretch your toes down below for a full body stretch. And then inviting the knees up into the chest. We can hug them inward, releasing through the low back once again, rocking gently side to side, and allowing the momentum of your rocking motion to take you all the way over to one side or the other. Long, slow breathing. We'll give ourselves just another moment here in this embryo pose. Before we start to rise upward, you can use the hands to press yourself up into a seated position. Again, whatever's comfortable for you. Legs crossed, legs extended. And if you're still lying on your back and you want to stay there longer, that is perfectly okay. Depending on what you've got planned today, you can stay there as long as you like. So just like we began, hands resting on the knees, either closing the eyes or casting them downward, and sensing all the contact points between your body and the floor underneath you, feeling that rootedness, that interconnectedness, remembering how we sent that root down, we turned it into a tube or a pipe, we sent down everything that doesn't serve us anymore, and we brought up fresh, pure, fiery energy to fill us up. That is a beautiful visualization that you can do anytime on your own to help yourself stay grounded, to help yourself release and cleanse. We can bring the hands together now, start to rub them together, bringing a little bit of friction and warmth. And then you can take one hand over the heart, one hand to the belly. Just take a few more moments here. I'll share my favorite version of the metta prayer, loving kindness prayer, with you now. May we be peaceful and happy. May we be healthy and strong. May we feel safe and free from fear. May our hearts be filled with love, kindness, and forgiveness. You can let the corners of your lips turn upward into a little smile. You can bring the hands together in a sign of gratitude. And you can bring to mind anything that you feel grateful for today. For me, it is all the individuals throughout history who have kept this practice alive, originating in India thousands of years ago, keeping the practice going during British colonial rule when they tried to outlaw yoga, and so much gratitude for the fact that this practice remains with us today. So feel free to seal your practice with a small bow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Light Your Inner Glow. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, jen@lightyourinnerglow.com. Here's Lily, who came to join me for the last portion of class. So I'm going to bring her in for just a little moment of cuteness. Soak it in, just soak it in.